Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF, Power or Might. I, Jonathan Coachman, with Mike today, and with Booker T, and today on Collision or Hit, today on Power or Might, we're going to talk about what happened yesterday on Collision or Hit. Yesterday on Collision or Hit, Pat McAfee was still ranting and ranting about how 30 years ago and WWF, now WWE, was greater than WWE now. Or 30 years ago was greater than TWF back in the day than a TWF now. And how we saw both Cody Rhodes and Jorah team up to take on The Rock and Pat McAfee. And do we know where this is going to lead to? And will this do something to the WrestleMania match coming up this week? Jonathan Coachman says. Well, I can tell you one thing right now. Mike today says no one truly knows if it's going to play into the grounds what's going to happen at WrestleMania between Cody Rhodes and The Rock, or if The Rock even needs Pat McAfee to win the match or not. Well, I can tell you one thing right now, Jonathan and Mike. The way I look at it, Booker T says, is that Pat McAfee does have the right to speak his mind. Even if there isn't any truth to back up what he's saying, he does got the right to speak his mind, though. Anyway, I don't know. I think The Rock will beat Cody Rhodes, just because The Rock has wrestled a lot longer and knows everything to do. We're talking about a man who has been through towards the end of New Lifetime Stand Heartless Might. So he knows, what he's doing. Well, we'll have to see about that, because we're going to hear from the so-called folks fighter, The Rock, here today on Power or Might. Now here comes The Rock coming to the ring now. Some of you folks now have wondered, why did I choose to team up with Pat McAfee? Me and Pat McAfee are mostly the same in some ways. We both started out as former football players, both fighting for the NFL, both working for the NFL. Unlike lifetimes, unlike teams. We both ended up shifting over to skilled wrestling, which I did and Pat McAfee did. Then I went into show playing, something that, Pat McAfee didn't do. Now, at the end of the day, the way that I'm going to look at this is that, there is some truth to what Pat says. There's not all kinds of truth to what Pat says, but there is some truth to what he says. And some of the truth comes up like this. Alright? 30 years ago, we had runs in and beatdowns, shit that either may fought or didn't make fought. But then again, that was the toy wrestling gathering. The toy wrestling gathering shit, you could say that had Golden, New Lifetime Stand, Heartless Might, Truth, Now, New Lifetime, New Birth, whatever lifetimes that WWE has now. So I want to say that me and Pat McAfee will be the ones to make that shift. We can at least make it fun again. I'm not saying we can make it as good as the Stand or Heartless Might lifetimes that everyone likes to talk about. That's like 30 years ago. And Pat, you need to be on to something. Well, here comes Pat McAfee coming to the ring now. Rock, you're right. You're right, Rock. You came to what was then the World Wrestling Gathering towards the end of the New Lifetime. But you became big during the stand, and you left during Heartless Might. But man, during that short time when you were on top, you made the watch time on USA, and then UPN, then TNN, then USA, UPN, TNN, UPN, whatever. You, Spike, you made all of that watch time go up. You were laying smackdowns on folks. Well, you're right. I was laying smackdowns on folks between the years of between 96 YL till 2005 YL, 2011 YL to 24 between FYL, you know. And I was laying smackdowns starting in 2024 YL to now. I had free runs in WWF, WWE. Yes, you came to the Toy Wrestling Gathering between 98 YL. You know, then the Free Death Month, if I am right about that. Yes, you are right about that. I did. So, I want to say, Rock, that me and you, we could take on the world. Hey, we may have lost to Cody Rhodes and God Jorah, but I know there's other folks that are willing to back up the cause. I mean, there's other folks who've been in the Toy Wrestling Gathering for many years. Besides you, there's Belaska. She came to the TWF in between 99 YL. I mean, there's the owner, Xena. She came to the TWF in between 99 YL too. But you know she's not going to watch her back. Look, what are we going to even call our team? I mean, I want to know, what are we going to call our team, though? Oh, I got a name of what you can call your teams. The crazy lover, I call yourself the Scavers, God Jorah says. Yeah, you folks like to talk about how 30 years ago, or what, you know, like 40 years ago, or 5 years ago, or how many years ago the Stand and Heartless Might were. You folks behave as if nothing was greater, nothing was good before Stand and Heartless Might, and nothing was good after Stand and Heartless Might. It's either Stand this, Heartless Might that. And you know what? Me and Cody Rhodes beat you yesterday. And why you can't stand me, Rock, is because, yeah, we both came to the Toy Wrestling Gathering in the same year, between 198 YL. The only unlikeness is I didn't start thinking that the lifetime we both showed up in was greater than any lifetime it came before or after. And you, Pat, you got nothing to speak of, Pat. You truly got nothing to speak of. I mean, you like to behave like you got room to speak of, Pat, but you don't. Let's be earnest, Pat. What were you doing 30 years ago? You weren't even in the NFL yet. You were watching WWF, WWE, and looking to Stand the Heartless Might lifetime, because in your mind, that was the only wrestling you knew before that. So, we both beat you. Well, here comes Cody Rhodes now. Alright, Rock, Pat McAfee, we can do the same step we did yesterday on Collision or Hit. It can happen here today on Power or Might, and you can still lose the same way. We just got to get a Fight Keeper in the ring, and then you can lose to the King of the Fiends and the Vinlander Nightmare like that. Alright, Dean, we're having our match here. Only this time it's going to be God Jorah and Pat McAfee going at it. And it looks like The Rock and Cody Rhodes are going to be not watching this match. And now Pat McAfee wants to run over and tag in The Rock, but that doesn't work. Tail down. God Jorah knocking down Pat McAfee with a tail down, Jonathan Coachman says. It is true that God Jorah did come to the Toy Wrestling Gathering. he came there in the year of the 8th month of 9 between 98 YL. You know, from the Vinlander Thrift Middle, when someone gave away the Godzilla, the Ghidorah doll from Sony's 1998 YL Ghidorah doll film. And Godzilla right now is taking down Pat McAfee, who some would say is a lover of 30 years ago. Jonathan Coachman says, yep, 30 years ago a lot of folks were giving on look to The Stand and WWF, now WWE, or Nitro Lifetime, or Blow Up Lifetime, and WCW. And a lot of folks believe that there are only 2 good lifetimes that there ever was, Mike Today says. Booker T says, Pat McAfee isn't knowing what he's doing or anything. You know, Pat McAfee thinks that he's going to help skilled wrestling. He thinks he's going to help WWE. He thinks he's going to help, you know, the TWF. I'll tell you what, Booker T says, Pat McAfee can't do it alone. And he's doing with The Rock. A man who can do it, a man who's done it all, Booker T says. Yeah, the same man that selected you when you first came to WWF from WCW. Well, I still unlook The Rock because at the end of the day, he's going to become the TWF heavyweight fighter, Booker T says. The Stone Bottom and the Pope's Elbow, Booker T says. Oh, that's right. Now, there was a book-in, Jonathan Coachman says, that you started doing towards the end of your time in WCW. 1, 2, and a kick out. And how you got pissed off he was doing the Stone Bottom before you started doing the book-in. Hey, that's all yesterday talk, Booker T said. Me and The Rock got over whatever unlikenesses we may have had between each other. Anyway, and now finally, again, this time, The Rock brings Pat McAfee back in the ring now. And he's only had a handful of matches during his time in either the TWF or in WWE, which isn't many. And Pat McAfee now in the bind, right? And now Ghidorah bringing in Cody Rhodes now. Cody Rhodes taking down Pat McAfee. Jonathan Coachman says. The catastrophe kick, Jonathan Coachman says. Cody Cutter, Mike Today says. Here it comes. Round Street. It looks like Ghidorah and Cody Rhodes are going to beat Pat McAfee again. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Here is your winners. The Vinlander Nightmare, the TWF heavyweight fighter, Cody Rhodes, and Ghidorah. And it looks like the Pat McAfee and The Rock once again lost another tag team match to Cody Rhodes and Ghidorah. And how could someone, lose 2 matches back to back like that, Jonathan Coachman says. Well, the truth is that only Pat McAfee and The Rock have that skill to do it. Mike Today says. I'll tell you one thing right now, Jonathan Coachman says. The way that it looks like to me is when I look at Booker T says that Pat McAfee and The Rock, someone is seeking to hush them. But you can't hush The Rock, or Rocky Maivia, or whatever he's calling himself, or Pat McAfee. They may have lost their matches. Ghidorah and Cody Rhodes may have won the matches, but at the end of the day, they're still going to beat someone. Well, alright, we're going to take that all away now to Gorilla Monsoon. Thank you, Jonathan Coachman and Mike Today. I'm going to be talking with Cody Rhodes here today on Power and Might. Alright, Cody Rhodes, you and Ghidorah teamed up again to take on The Rock and Pat McAfee, and some may worry will you still be the TWF heavyweight fighter after that? Well, first off, Gorilla Monsoon, I believe that I will still be the TWF heavyweight fighter after that. And I'll tell you why. Yes, I beat Pat McAfee. Yes, I beat The Rock. But come Wrestle Madness, I will beat The Rock, or Rocky Maivia, or Dwayne The Rock Johnson, or The Stone, or whatever name he wants to call himself. We all know he's not the first to call himself that. Don Morocco called himself that. But anyway, I know that he's going to do everything in the book to beat me. He's going to say that he's been wrestling on and off since 9 between 196 YL. Great for him. But that doesn't mean he's going to beat me. I know some things too, you know. Everyone thinks that the Afudas, the Maivias, and the Fatus, and the Johnsons were the only ones to be in the wrestling business. But we all know the Runnels were also in the wrestling business too. Well, I'm quite aware of that, Cody Rhodes. So do you have a game goal when fighting The Rock to keep the TWF heavyweight winnings at Wrestle Madness? Well, I have a game goal, but I'm not going to let him know about it. I know how things are played. I know how things are like. And at the end of the day, I'm going to say that I'm going to do great. And I will still be the TWF heavyweight fighter, and I will beat him. Alright, that's my talk with Cody Rhodes. Back to you, Jonathan Coachman and Mike Today. Well, thank you, Gorilla Monsoon, for talking with Cody Rhodes here today on Power and Might. And that's all the time we got here for Power and Might. I, Jonathan Coachman, with Mike Today and Booker T. We hope you like Power and Might, and we'll see you tomorrow for Monday Night Raw, or Monday Night Raw.